one of the things that I need help with is accepting that I have DID, and saying that makes me do this, and you like feel a bit cringy because you're like, no, I don't. But you're like, yeah, you kind of do. Hi, I'm Amber. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about something that I've talked to my therapist a lot about recently, and that's kind of accepting my DID and the diagnosis and what it encompasses and my experiences with that and all of that kind of stuff, because it's something I've really struggled with. So I guess I'll start with when I originally got the diagnosis, the first time. Let me tell you, it's been a time. So the first time I got the diagnosis, I was actually kind of already on my way to accepting it, because when I first kind of started getting these experiences of switching and these different parts coming out and all of that kind of stuff, I didn't really know what was going on, and I wouldn't have known what was going on if it weren't for my best friend Sophia at the time telling me what was going on. And I think the fact that she was so chill about it made it easier for me to accept kind of over time. But to start with, I was really like reluctant to kind of accept what was going on. And she actually found some videos and stuff on YouTube, if you know Jess and the gang. Then she showed me some of her videos, and we watched like a documentary thing that she was in as well. And hearing someone else talk about it made it a lot easier for me to be like, oh, okay, I get that. But for some reason, when the diagnosis was mentioned, I was like, no, that's not me. Like, I don't have that. No, it's not me. And I remember one of the biggest barriers I faced was that I knew that when I started looking into DID, and dissociation in general, there was this real, like, you had to have trauma kind of thing. I was like, I don't have trauma. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I don't have anything in my life that was like, oh my God, this is awful, and I can't cope with it kind of thing. That was like, I think that's still the biggest barrier that I struggle against, is that I don't, in my head, see anything in my life as trauma. But I put that to one side for a bit. I think that I didn't accept that part of it. But I think just being around Sophia and her, almost becoming friends with the other guys and all of this kind of stuff helped me kind of see that maybe it wasn't the worst thing ever. And seeing videos of people who were like, their system was really kind of connected and they talked to each other and they communicated, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, right, I see. Okay, it doesn't have to be this really horrible thing all the time. And I think when the parts started leaving me notes and stuff, that was almost quite nice in a way, even though it was a bit scary. That I felt like I was getting to know them, because I felt like these people that I didn't know were like taking over my body kind of thing, and I didn't know them. But through kind of Sophia telling me about them and reading these notes about them and them doing like little character profiles kind of thing, I started to feel like I knew them a bit more, and I started to feel like more of a connection to them, and kind of like, oh, okay. When I came back around, it was, oh, Katie was there. Oh, okay, what did they do this time? Or, like having kind of listening to the kind of the funny stories that happened when they were out. It was like, oh, okay, like I start to get to know these people. When I was admitted to my first inpatient ward, they very much carried that on. They were very much, they were very eager to kind of keep, that connection and keep the journal and get them to do drawings and really do those character profiles type thing. Everyone was really like super chill about it. And that's when in that hospital is where I got my diagnosis of DID, Dissociative Identity Disorder, in case you don't know, but I'm sure you do at this point. Yeah, so when I got the diagnosis in there, it was a bit of a shock, but I kind of saw it coming at this point. It had been floating around for a while. I was admitted for the assessment of DID symptoms and other things as well, but that was on the original kind of admission form. Sophie had mentioned it a lot. It was around, and I was kind of expecting it, and it was almost a relief to put a name to it, even though I didn't fully accept it yet. But I was ready to. I was like ready to like accept it. And I was ready to start like really communicating with the parts, and I was ready to start kind of getting everyone connected in the system and chatting and, all of this kind of stuff. Then I came home. I was discharged from the hospital, and there was a short period of time from when I was discharged to when I was admitted to a different hospital, and in that time I started to doubt whether it was all real and stuff like that. And I think the people around me and my family, they were confused by what was going on. They didn't know. They were scared of it. They weren't quite so chill with just chatting to the parts, weren't so chill with telling me what had happened afterwards, found it very hard to kind of call them by their names and were using my name instead, and that distressed the parts. And we had a couple of really, really bad experiences, which I won't go into, that were quite distressing for everyone involved. And all of those things together, I think that everyone was just a little bit scared to accept it, including myself at that point. I was kind of like, oh my God, no, I can't accept this now. This can't be happening. Then I was admitted to my second inpatients, and they were very, very unaccepting of DID, and my diagnosis got changed. And I was told that the way I experienced dissociation was just an abnormal form of the way people with EUPD experience dissociation. EUPD is emotionally unstable personality disorder, or if you know it from the DSM, it's borderline personality disorder. They're the same thing, it's just depending on what diagnostic manual you use. So I was diagnosed with that in my second inpatients, and DID was thrown off the table. They were like, it's invalid diagnosis, it's not true, it doesn't happen. The doctor basically said that he didn't believe in it, and he didn't believe that happened, even though it happened in the hospital quite a few times. I had people telling the parts that it wasn't valid, their name wasn't valid, and that they knew that they were Amber, and all of this kind of stuff, and experiences that I wouldn't know about if other people hadn't have relayed them back to me, which is quite scary. I think that time, because I also at that time had a lot of kind of alternative theories, you could say, as to why the parts were here and what they were and who they were and what they had agendas, and I was very scared of that part of my experience. I had all of these other theories, and they seemed more likely than the fact that it was DID. It didn't seem to fit the mold of the DID narrative, and I didn't understand how I could have possibly developed it given my life, the life that I could remember it. At that point is where I needed people to just be super accepting and just help and talk it out and propose DID as a option. But because the people around me, professionals around me, were telling me that it wasn't real, it just affirmed it for me. I was like, okay, well, I don't think, if I was thinking it wasn't real, but everyone around me was going, it might be, maybe we should keep it open as an option. We'll just maybe talk about how that would lay out if it is an option. In the time when I needed that, and I needed all of that acceptance and all of the stuff that I was experiencing before, that was the time I needed it most, and it all just fell away. And so I just stopped accepting it. I was like, well, I don't have the diagnosis anymore. It's kind of been stripped of me, kind of thing. People don't think it's valid. Everyone in my life doesn't think it's valid. None of the professionals in my life think it's valid. It can't be true, kind of thing. So it kind of went from a place of mistreatment to a place of just being ignored. And that kind of just went through to after I was diagnosed, and I kind of just kept ignoring it and kept kind of ignoring that it was a thing. Really super just kind of pushed it out of my thinking. And this coincided with the parts kind of going a little bit dormant because they had taken a little bit of step back. They weren't there as much as they were before. I was like, oh, well, look, it's gone. It was just this, like they said in the hospital, it was this abnormal form, abnormal presentation of dissociation while I was in a really, really distressed place. That was it. That's cool. Don't need to think about it. Push it out to the side. And any time that I felt any of the guys coming close to me, I would really just no, not now. No, no, just no, kind of thing. because I had that slight more agency over my body. I think I was able to do that, but I know that it's not the best thing to do, because if you just push a ball down for so long, it's just going to pop back up, and with more vigor, if you will. So that's not really the greatest thing to do, but I just kept doing it. And luckily, I had a care coordinator, and he was cool, and started, after a long time of no one talking to me about it, he started talking to me about it and started asking questions and being interested and figuring out how he could help me and stuff. And he was talking to another one of the therapists at the place that he worked, not naming names and stuff, but asking her how she thought would be best to help, because she kind of specializes in that kind of area. And it happened that because she is a specialist, she can pick special cases. So she picked me up and said, this looks like a kind of interesting case, if you will, and picked me up. And she's now my therapist, and she's been my therapist for nearly a year at this point. We had this conversation the other day. And even after nearly a year, I'm still only just dipping my toe kind of in the DID pool, if you will. She approached it as kind of one of the options, that it could be one of the theories, do you know what I mean? Not saying this is definitely it, not forcing it down my throat kind of thing. So now we're back to DID, and this time I kind of am accepting it again, but I think I'm a lot more reluctant to accept it than the first time it was diagnosed, because there's been all of this crap in the middle. And I still feel like a lot of people don't really understand, and it's going to take a lot. I think having this therapist now that's super overly kind of accepting, and she knows all the stuff, because that's her, that's her area, she knows all about it, and it's so affirming to say something and her be like, oh yeah, okay, maybe is that not weird? She's like, no, that's standard kind of thing. And if I tell her about having a feeling that someone is close, or having hearing a thought from someone else or something, she's like, oh, that's good. It's encouraged, because she's saying, oh, that's good, because you're connecting with them, they're letting you in and you're letting them in, and you're connecting, and that's what we want, that's what's good. It's me, I think, again letting my guard down back to them kind of thing, because it was kind of there before, and a couple of them I trusted, and I started to know I could have described them to you and stuff like that, and that fell away, and I'm starting to get that back a little bit. And I think that I just need to do all of that stuff that I was doing before, all of that engaging and all of that talking about them and everything. I just hope that as I start to accept it, everyone comes with me. That's where I'm at. I'm exploring it, I'm talking about it, I'm becoming a little bit more open to the fact that these guys are here, and I can talk to them, and I can feel what they feel, and I can sometimes hear what they're thinking, and they're just there, they are just there kind of thing. I can't get away from it. And in doing that, I've realised how much nicer it is to actually just accept that the guys are there, and actually start, they're nice people, and the little ones, they're quite sweet. And I had this moment, this is kind of what I want to talk about today. I had this moment in therapy today when I was talking about one of the little ones, and the first time they came out, we were talking about the fact that he was playful, and the first time that he came out, I knew that because I woke up and there was mud on my hands and my knees. I was like, why am I dirty? And I looked in the journal that they write in when they're out, and it was like, hi, I've been here and I found a worm and I called it Bob. I'm like, that's really quite sweet. And that was a thing that I always found very strange, is that I couldn't think, oh, they're quite cool, or oh, they're really sweet, or that's a nice thing for them to say. I don't know, I felt this no, I can't say that because they're not real, blah blah blah. But they're there, and if I find, my nephew sweet when he says something like that that's funny, I found a worm and I called it Bob. You're like, okay, why is his name Bob? If I find it sweet, of a kid, a nephew, or a friend's kid or something, then it's no different. If it's one of my parts, like they're just kids and they're just people. But yeah, I'm glad that I've actually finally like talked about it properly, and I hope to talk about it a lot more. I think I was super waiting for this like light bulb acceptance moment, and then I was like, come on, Amber, that's not true. Like, acceptance doesn't come in this light bulb moment. It's like a slow building thing, and I guess sometimes it might be, but it's not for me anyway. I don't think I've ever got that. I've never been not accepting of something and all of a sudden be like, bam, like now I do. Like there'll be little light bulb moments where you're like, okay, right, okay, I get that, I get it. But you have to integrate it into your perception of yourself and your perception of the world. And that's okay. And I want to talk about it, even if I'm still on that journey. So give yourselves a cuddle and stay safe. And I might see you again, maybe talking about some DID cool stuff, maybe, or maybe something else. I don't know. I'm going to see my camera again, and you can choose if you want to be there or not. I don't really mind, but I'm going to talk about some stuff more. So, bye!